Today it is a race against the weather as we're trying to make sure this all comes in before the freeze. Well, we woke up this morning to freeze watch warnings up here in our area, which means that not only are we going to have our light frost that we were expecting, but now we're going to have a hard freeze, and there is a lot of crops that we have to get in still. We were not expecting a hard freeze yet. This is really, really early for this season. So we're dropping everything else today, and it's all hands on deck as we go out and harvest the rest of the homestead. Let's go take a look at what needs to get started. The kids are already deployed in teams, out picking the things that we absolutely know need to come in. Things like the grapes and the remaining beets and the parsnips need to come in. The potatoes need to come in also. They would survive the freeze just fine, but the problem is that right after that freeze is a large rainstorm. They're not gonna do well in the cold and wet, and who knows how long it'll be before it'll dry out enough for us to harvest them. So we really need to get them out now. I'm gonna go through the rest of the garden and let's see what else has to come in before we're done. Most of what's here in the cottage garden is already been harvested or is gonna do absolutely fine with a freeze. We've got some broccolis, lots of kales. Of course, I'll lose the flowers, so I want to bring in one last bouquet of flowers. And any of the fresh herbs that I'm going to want to bring in will need to come in right now. So I've got some dill, and I probably do one last picking over here of some of the other herbs that I'm going to want for the season. They're a little hidden now, but I've got some peppers under here, some thyme, and some oregano. I'll probably just come through and do one final good picking here, but it's already kind of wrapping up for the season anyways out here, and I've done a lot of the harvest, so that's good. And out in the terrace garden, our lettuces and our greens should be fine. I have a lot of fresh greens up just for the fall garden, but all the tomatoes, these guys will not make it. So I'm gonna have to bring them in. Luckily, I have my winter tomatoes out there, so the whole plant will just come in and get hung upside down inside so that the tomatoes can continue to ripen. We'll have to go through and pick all the remaining squash, zucchini down here, and get all of our cute little melons out. Now we've gotten a lot of the fruit harvested, but some of the fruit is still on the tree, like this pear tree. We have a lot of really good pears on it. Luckily, pears don't freeze until about 30 degrees, so I think we're gonna skate by this one without harvesting these guys. And it's the same thing for these apples. These are winter storage apples, and they should be just fine on the tree. In fact, they'll get even better going through a nice hard frost and even a light freeze. Look at this crabapple tree. We have two of these guys, and it was a great crabapple year. Just like the apples, these guys will handle about 30 degrees, 29 degrees of freeze without a problem, and they'll just get sweeter. So thankfully, we don't have to harvest this right now. Oh, this makes the best applesauce and apple cider. I'm so excited about them, but they're gonna have to wait for a few more days. What are you guys harvesting? Beets. Beets.
I am cleaning up, get the sprinkler system out of the way. We're getting ready to have a freeze. So this is our Jan, or Dan Jan microsystem. Love these things, but we don't want them to stay out in the freeze. And they're really easy to take out. They just have little clippies, pull them out of the ground, and they'll go into the garden shed until next spring.
Oh, great, that's good.
Yeah.
Get it all set for this freeze here. And here are the parsnips. These guys have got to come out today too. the green beans are just done for. There's not much we're gonna do to save these guys, so we'll do a final picking today and get the last of the green beans off the plant and then say goodbye to the fresh green beans for the season.
Bears let me eat some
What are they?
grapes.
Ooh.
She let me eat the grapes.
What you doing, Brianna?
Picking the grapes.
You have 2 baskets here. What are you doing with the 2 different baskets?
This one's for the ones with short stems, and that one's for the one with long stems.
We're gonna try an old-fashioned Victorian era preservation technique that extends the life of fresh grapes so that you can eat them. And according to the old literature, this will work and you should be able to eat fresh grapes until December, till Christmas at least. Great work. You got a lot of grapes to go.
Yeah.
The cabbages should be just fine, shouldn't have any problem getting through the freeze. In fact, we are waiting for a freeze before we harvest these guys because most of them are for sauerkraut. Other space where we have been growing this year is over in the brand new sister's garden. Most of that got harvested the other day when Josh and the kids went out and picked all of the corn. The remaining stuff out here is all the winter squashes and pumpkins. It was a really good winter squash here. And there are a lot of squash hidden around down here. But the corn's already out. The sunflowers are just fine. They'll die back. But the remaining things are these beans. These are my experimental dry bush beans. They're a variety that has grown up here in our local area for a long time. And they've just been left on the plant. You can see they're mostly dried down already. And we'll just need to go ahead and get these guys off the ground so that they don't freeze and then get wet and rot. Ooh, the cauliflower's a little past done. We're gonna have to go ahead and bring these guys in too. Not so much because of the freeze, but because we should have harvested them a while ago. The mission's clear. We have to scramble today to get everything into the house that we can. And then we'll spend the next couple of days preserving it afterwards. But today it is a race against the weather as we're trying to make sure this all comes in before the freeze. While Josh and the kids have been getting started on the harvest up in the main crop garden, I just came back into the house and did a quick cleanup, and I got a big ham roast into the Dutch oven for dinner tonight. We'll just add some of the fresh picked vegetables, some potatoes, and probably the green beans and the rest of the beet greens in for dinner. But I thought I'd run out here really quickly and just take care of all of the summer squash and the melons while they're busy. I think they're gonna want a snack real soon. They've been working hard for an hour or so now. So I'm gonna harvest these guys and then make up a quick snack and then jump in and help them with the rest. Wow, that is a good number of grapes.
The ones with the long stems, I haven't brought those down yet.
Oh, okay, so there's a whole nother basket?
Yeah.
And then you needed one more basket?
Yeah.
All right. That's great. That's gonna make a lot of really good jelly and juice, and it'll give us enough of the long stem kind to play with.
Yeah.
Great. Good work. Wow, you've gotten a lot of great grapes. Look at all this, you're almost done. You're just down to the concords. Good work. Look at all of these potatoes they've gotten out. Almost all the way down. They've gotten a lot done this morning. Wow. All the parsnips are now in. That is a lot of really good parsnips in here. Some of them are little,
Yeah, there's some little, there's a bunch that split off and kind of funky.
Yeah,
And they're all
this guy
mixed in.
with
It's not
legs.
like-
I'm thinking we might make it. We might be okay here. And maybe we'll even be able to start with the preserving on the kitchen side. Let's go.
Break time!
Get a break. Good job. It's back to work time and we are going to pick the tomatoes here in the cottage garden. Okay, girls?
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. We've got to go down and pick all of the ripe tomatoes.
And these ones?
Yeah, you can get those.
Even this one?
Okay, that's a good one. We're getting there, but the weather's changing actually really quickly. It's getting really windy and it's a cool winter feeling wind. I think we're gonna make it, but we're gonna be working every minute until this storm moves in. The bean picking crew, yay! Oh, hi Millie, how are you? That's Millie the calf, come to say hi.
Hi, Nelly. Hi, Nelly.
These are what we're picking down here, and these are the soup beans, or the beans for drying. These should be really good for winter beans.
Is this it?
Yep. Why do we grow all of this food here, girls?
Because we want to eat healthy food. Yeah.
Good. What are we going to do with it after we get it out of the garden?
Eat it.
We're going to eat some of it, but we can't eat all this food right tonight. What are we going to do with the rest of it?
Save it for winter.
Yeah, save it for winter. We're going to preserve it, right? And put it up in the pantry.
Yeah.
These beans we're going to dry and we're going to keep them so we can cook them later.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys, that is the last of the beans coming in. But look at what we uncovered in here. You guys, there are so many pumpkins. There's a ton of pumpkins and different winter squash all hiding in here. They are huge and a whole bunch of them are very, very ripe. We probably won't harvest these until after the freeze kills back the tops. Make our job a little bit easier, but there is a lot hidden in this jungle. Okay, don't tip it. Good job. Hannah, what do you have?
Sunflowers?
A whole lot of sunflowers, huh? Can you carry those back to the house?
Yeah.
Okay, go put them on the dining room table for me, please. Wow, look at all these green beans. Okay, well, I think the last picking has been successful. What do you think?
A lot. Good.
Wow, look at all of these crates of potatoes. These are going to get laid out here in this back room for curing for just a little bit and sorting through. All of the corn is all laid out and waiting for me to have time to process it in the next couple of days. And all of the onions are curing. Look at this. Look at all of those onions. We're going to be braiding and twisting onions really, really soon. There is so much amazing good food in here right now. I am so pleased with this year's harvest. Carrots are in, the beets are in, the parsnips are in. We've got a ton of tomatoes and the squash hasn't even come in yet. We even got another huge picking of green beans. So wow, this has been a highly successful day for having such a rush harvest right at the end. Feels so good to have this in. We're all tired, but it's also really, really satisfying. Here are the things that ended up in the kitchen. Look at all of these grapes. Grapes, more squash and watermelons. We already ate a bunch of those. Beet greens, more grapes, tomatoes, more tomatoes, green beans. Oh wow, and green tomatoes. I bet you guys can guess what I'm going to be doing for the next few days. If you want to see a video of what happens once all these things come into the kitchen and I have to take care of them, check out this video I did a year or two ago of a really busy harvest day in the kitchen.